What's up, guys? Welcome back. We're here with my good buddy in a cold Boston room with a bunch of booze around us. Two sober guys.
Hey, ain't no thing. We are completely surrounded by booze that we are not gonna touch.
No. We actually had a meeting over cheeseburger.
That's
but anyways, we're here with my buddy JD Simo. JD's on tour, starting a new tour, promoting his new record, Off at 11. What's going on, my brother?
Oh man, just hanging out. It's great to be back.
Been here for, I know, right? Back on the Riff. Been here for about a week on tour. First day was in Woonsocket, my homeland.
That's it. No, it's great, having a good time, and you know, it's still new. A weekend is not a long time, so.
You guys just spent some time beating up New York too, right?
Yeah, had a great time.
Awesome. I want to talk about some guitars this time because we talked about, the music, and that speaks for itself. We don't really need to talk about that, but this right here that you're holding, talk a little bit about that one.
Well, this
step out of the way.
This is a. It's an old ES5, just like T-Bone Walker, you know. And got it from a good buddy down in Nashville, and it's kind of hard to play because it badly needs a fret job.
But it's extremely iconic, and you got it working for you out on the road, which is great.
I'm loving it. Yeah, I like playing it on. There's a tune on the new record that's kind of a Lightning Hopkins-y kind of thing that sometimes I'll play acoustic on it, but I've been playing this on it because it kind of does that thing, you know.
Show them the stinger.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So there's a stinger. There's double stinger actually up on we got up on the headstock, and then also here as well.
Super rare and super desirable, and now I have to find a way to get one myself.
But these are attainable. They're not like this thing, you know. So these are out there though, and there was a good one down in Nashville that was a buddy of mine's that I was gonna pull the trigger on. I ended up getting this one, but
beautiful guitar.
Because like in the hotel room, or like I love all that Lightning Hopkins stuff, or like John Lee Hooker, you know. And I just like playing it. It's just good to have fun with. It's
beautiful. I begged you to take it out with you because I knew I was going to be meeting up with you. It's amazing.
It was part of the reason I brought it.
Yeah, an old Telecaster that you kind of, put together with some parts, and that's kind of kicking ass for you.
I love it. Yeah, that and an old Strat, sort of like yours.
That one was a 56. 56.
And then I've got of course I've got red back here.
I must see it. I must see this thing once every year and a half, and it's getting licked up, but in the right way. I actually said to JD earlier, I said, this is your guitar.
Oh yeah.
It's just made, it's just worn in. It's a beautiful guitar still.
Yeah, but it's getting beat pretty good, and
but in all the right ways. In all the right ways. And then you got a newer.
So this thing is a 355 that actually here. Yeah, you take this one, baby. So this is a 355 that I went in to see my friends at Gibson, and they had made a couple of these, but they hadn't sold them. And I saw it, and I'd never seen a Pelham Blue 355 with the ornate headstock and everything, and so I asked them if they were wanting to talk about doing stuff this year, and I really liked it, and I said, well, could you finish them? And I went and I picked the best one out, and we put my little push pole in here so it still goes out of phase, and did a couple other things too. But I really like this a lot. I've been playing this a lot.
When I showed up today, you said to me, it sounds old.
It does.
So can you explain what you meant by that?
Well, the thing that I like about this compared to red is red is really aggressive sounding, and this thing, for when I'm playing sweet music, I don't know if it's the ebony or whatever, but it's like the clean sounds on this I like better. They're a little stanky, they're a little rounder, whereas they're more aggressive on red, where it's almost like if I cut some stuff before I left for this tour with my buddy Luther Dickinson.
Yeah.
and we cut some real old school kind of stuff. And I actually used this in my 64 Deluxe Reverb, and it's funny, like those kind of Magic Sam sounds and Otis Rush, and there's just something about this guitar that I really like, and so I'm happy to have a new one that I don't that I really
yeah,
dig.
right.
You
I know it sounded incredible during sound check. It's not got a really it's got the wide knot feel, but it's easy to play.
Yeah.
And some talk about making this maybe the signature model.
Yeah, because we're talking about doing like a production model that isn't like some uber expensive thing, and so this has I genuinely really like it, and it's something that they haven't like offered. So, you know, we'll see how the conversation goes, but I'm genuinely really liking it. Me and Nick did a little bit of smudging on here, little nut,
just a mild saddle work.
Little saddle work, you know. I'm like, hey, as long as you're coming through your files in the car, you know.
In the car.
Our pinup girls and everything, you know. You're like JV and you go behind the head, you know, you got to have the girl sitting on you.
Yeah.
You got to have the girl sitting on your shoulder.
You got killer guitars, but also, you know, putting a lot of faith in the newer stuff, and especially being, I mean, that was what prepared for you maybe, say, a month ago at the most?
Yeah,
and yeah,
and I really like it.
Walked up to it, adjusted the pickups, and said, yeah, this one sounds the best. Bye.
Yeah, exactly.
And now it's
which, you know, here's something. Jimmy Vaughn says, there's a really good story amongst some of my friends that are close with Jimmy that, like, you know, all our heroes used to go in a pawn shop or something and go, hey man, I'll take the red one. This thing's really rocking and grooving, and I dig it, and I've beaten it up, and it's already weather checked a bit, which is good because it's cold up here. And see, you need one of them. They're just fun.
Yeah, so anyways, I gotta stop because I'm gonna end up buying one of these on the ride home. Amps, you're using, I saw just a couple of two, three black faces up there?
Yeah, no, I brought two supers on this tour. I've got my main one that, you know parts of that main one. So what I did was I've got 4 supers.
Yeah.
Since I've seen you last, what I did was I took the 4 of them and I made my favorite one out of the 4. So I like took 2 speakers from, there were 2 that sounded like one was darker and one was brighter, so I took 2 speakers from each, and then 1 cabinet that really sounded great, and then 1 head that sounded great, and then 1 reverb amp that sounded great.
All right.
And made like my favorite.
Yeah.
And so that's my favorite, and then I've got my second favorite. I did the same thing for the second.
Whatever was left over.
Yeah, and then I had the third and fourth one, which I got rid of because they were just fine. And so I've got my 2 favorite supers.
If you bought those, they're great.
I know where they are. And then, so yeah, I've got those 2 supers, and then the Deluxe Reverb 64 Deluxe that I ended up recently just putting an old matchless speaker in from the Samson era, because it's an older vintage 30, which I really like for me. I know you're a JBL guy, but I like that amp a lot. And then I've got a little Vibro Champ, a 66 Vibro Champ for when we had to do like iHeartRadio and Sirius and stuff.
Now, when you're doing those things, are you putting a mic in front of that?
Oh, yeah. We figured it out how to do it, like
with the band and everything.
Yeah, no, we're like, you know, Adam the drummer, he's got like a smaller kit, but he's playing with splash sticks, and Andrelé is playing bass, just plays really low volume.
Yeah.
And then like I put the Vibro Champ up on a chair, and I can actually like sing over it.
Great.
Like just like you
and
and I
then
are talking.
it's still getting your tones.
Yeah. No, and it's really funny about the blackface stuff because I'd never had an amp that small, you know, like a Champ or a Vibro Champ or whatever. And when I got this Vibro Champ, it was really funny because it's like it sounds like a blackface. I say that though because I actually got one of those new True Spring pedals that I forget who makes them now. It's brand new though, and it's a spring reverb, and it's really great. I think I was telling you about it, but on the phone. But I got that to run in front of it, but with that, then it even more on a microphone sounds like
the dynamics are probably insane because you get that splash.
it's perfect. And so I used it at iHeartRadio, and it's serious, and I have to use it for some serious stuff we're doing in DC the day after tomorrow, and it's perfect. And it's like it's no, I've got everything I need.
Amazing.
Old wah, which actually Nick found. The one that I'm using is one that Nick found on Reverb one night, and he does. He's the guy to know. It's the taper. It's the fact that like the distance that the treadle on an old wah, it's like way shorter. Like modern ones are like this, and like old ones are literally like that. Like it's a big difference. And so like that, the iCar pot and a good microphonic inductor. Like I usually put foam on the inside of mine to keep it from rattling around. And see, you need one of them, man.
You're a young guy. You're working hard. You're saving your bucks. You want to start buying vintage guitars. You want to look at a vintage guitar.
Sure.
And you were there. I remember, many interviews. You were there. What are some advice you can give for somebody who is wanting to get into, not necessarily buying and flipping vintage guitars, because at that point the sound, the tone doesn't really matter. But somebody who wants to find a number one, what's some tips you can get for people?
So you need to check it first, always. One thing I'll say is like, okay, old Fenders, refins are your friend. Look for refins, because unless you're into complete originality, you're gonna literally lop half the price off with just that. And for what I consider, if it's a good refin, then why spend that extra money? Like why spend that extra, literally $10,000, or more? Just get a refin, rewired pickups, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's like what you're wanting is you're wanting a 200-year-old tree that's a good tree.
Yeah,
is what you want
to shine.
You don't want like it's the sum of all of its parts. So like with Fenders, all the way. With Gibson type guitars, headstock cracks, body cracks somewhat, but headstock cracks, if it's a good headstock crack, again, you're cutting half the money off. Like if you're getting a Les Paul Jr. or you're getting an SG or something like that. Now all of a sudden you're talking about like higher end custom shop prices for a vintage guitar.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and if it don't bother the player.
No, and if it's a good guitar, because here's the other thing, folks. Like you can line 10 new guitars or old guitars up, and there's going to be one, maybe two that really are like that's the one, And it's like, and that's the thing. You can't, there is no definitive. You have to like search it out and find it. Another thing with Gibsons is 355s and 345s all day long, folks. Easy mod to make them mono. I personally like the Veritone switch and stuff like that. Again, you're talking about like if you buy like a 1960 or 61 or 62 345, you're talking about if you mind your P's and Q's and do it right, you're looking at a 12-ish grand guitar compared to a similar era 335 25, and it's like. And if you find like a 345 with a cracked headstock, now all of a sudden you're looking at like an $8,500 guitar or an $8,000 guitar. Again, it's like it's a lot of money, but it's like it's attainable, like to get like your piece, the one that you really like.
Your friends that are helping you save money. See that?
Well, yeah, because it ain't about money.
They tell you, nah, I know where one is. I know where one is. If you're really, don't worry about it.
But you got to find something that you bond with, and I'm trying to think if there's any other. I mean, that's about the best advice I think I can give on the subject.
What most people don't know this too is when you bought Red, you went from starving in Nashville to playing and being able to pay the bills again.
Oh yeah.
And then when you bought that one, you went to literally
Oh, I got rid of
zero
everything.
possessions.
Yeah,
A guitar
I got rid of everything
that you believed in.
Yeah, because I knew I had to have it, and it was like, you know. Now, granted, like when I did the deal on this, it was, you know, it was more money than I'd ever spent on anything, but it was also like, you know, a really good deal on top of it, you know, and so.
But you knew that guitar,
Yeah,
was it. That's what I'm trying to say. So you knew that the sacrifice was worth it. You got to play the instrument. You got to be around the instrument. You knew them already. You kind of knew 335s.
Yeah.
You knew what they were going to do, and that thing did it for you.
Yeah, well, and more importantly, actually, I hadn't played a lot of 335s. I wasn't really looking for one in particular. It's just this one, I just really bonded with it, and it was like, oh man. So now it's like, it kind of defined, because I kind of at the time was kind of more into Les Pauls and SGs and stuff like that. And it's like, this came along and it was really great. And it was like, all right, let's go to town.
And it's been there. Look at that thing.
Yeah, we've been through a lot. Wore all the finish off the back. You got to have Elvis Kennedy and Miles. You know.
Kennedy, huh? So,
But,
on top of a tour, we're going to talk about the new record, but you also have a True Fire lesson DVD that came out. Well, it's a computer accessible.
You can join through the True Fire website, and then you get all the content via download.
Cool.
There is a hard copy that I've yet to see yet, but there is, like, you can order a CD and a DVD and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, it was really fun.
And it's basically, explain to them a little bit about what's going on quick. It's
hours and hours and hours
probably
of
one
content.
of the longest ones.
It might be, I don't know.
Yours and Jim Campolongo is one that I really, really like.
Oh, really?
I'm a big fan of Jim. He's a
I
great
love Jim's playing.
player.
Yeah. No, Tommy Manuel introduced me to him, and flew down to Florida where they have a nice studio and everything, and I spent a couple months thinking about what I'd want to talk about, and then we spent a couple of days just filming anything I could think of that might be helpful. And it amounted to, probably at least 3 hours, if not more, of content. And I had a really good time. I really, it's me doing kind of as broad a stroke as I can of the things that I think are important.
But you also, I noticed that you infuse what got you off and what you like.
Oh yeah.
And you spoke about that, and you kept. Most people, when they're, I see like they're trying to give a demonstration of a style. Mm-hmm. They'll play it, sell vanilla ice cream to the style. There's no flavor on it.
I did the best I could, and it was really, I'm glad that they were really open to allowing me to do what it is that I wanted,
right.
Because I don't really have a lot of, I've got a lot of knowledge, but I don't have a lot of, kind of theoretical knowledge. The things that I do are very basic and simple, really, and it's more of why you do something rather than how you do it,
Right.
And so luckily they were cool with that, because I kind of had a long talk with them beforehand. I was like, well, I don't want to sit down, and I'm not going to be the guy that can here's a lick and here's
This is
a
your
lick.
11th, and
I'm not gonna. I'm not your guy, man. Which is funny because since then I hooked them up with my buddy Luther Dickinson, and Luther just did his, and Luther said he loved it. I told him, I said, dude, they're totally cool, and you'll be surprised, And so he called me afterward, and he was like, or texted me afterward, and he was like, dude, it was great. You're
Awesome.
totally right. So, they're good people.
Sweet. Oh, that's good to hear. I'm much looking forward to getting my hard copy.
This is true.
A new album. It's out for sale in the merch, but it's out.
Yeah, well, it comes out March 1st. It's
Okay.
not out officially. We
Okay.
have the advance copies for the
All right.
tour, which is cool. And new shirts and new
Talk about the
cozies and all
album.
that. Off at 11 is, I put a studio in my house, this funky studio. A little over a year ago, I finally made the decision to do that. I'd kind of already done it, but my wife was like, you should just do it, like for real, like make it into a place that you can actually work in. So, got a funky old console and a bunch of old ribbon mics and stuff like that, and put like some treatment up. And when I say treatment, folks, I mean like burlap sacks and like
mattress.
Yeah, like it's funky. It's the kind of place I want to work at. Not everybody would want to work at a place like this, but it's perfect for what I want. And it's just 8 channels, and I started cutting stuff initially just to learn how to use the room. And I'd cut like a whole, like, couple of records worth of older type of material, some of which I'd sent you back then. And then I went off and did some stuff in the summer with Phil Lesh. And I was really conflicted about, I really want to do this old school stuff, but I really like this outer space music too. And it's like trying to, and Phil backstage was really funny about it. He was like, well, you can do both. And it was a real profound, it was simple as can be, but it was a real profound statement for me. So I came back from that tour and we cut a couple of outer space tunes and ended up compiling sort of half and half.
Great.
And that's what the new record is. And it's 8 tracks, and it's like almost an hour long. It's definitely a guitar record.
Good.
There's an old Little Walter tune on there. There's a I'm trying to think. There's an old B.B. King tune, and there's an old like sort of a Lightning Hopkins-y kind of thing. It's cool. There's an old Slim Harpo tune on there. It's half and half. It's half outer space music and half down in the alley.
Good though. That's good.
It's fun.
I'm so proud of you, my boy.
Thank you.
So we're on tour. You got how long are you out for now on this run?
Well, this one goes up to the beginning of March, and then I go to Europe till like mid-April. And then there's another U.S. tour that starts right when I get back from that.
Just to mention, my friend Dan is in Germany. He's a pedal builder, Dan Drive. He's going to be meeting you.
I look forward because now that's the Secret Engine, which is really hip. You hit me to that.
I was supposed to bring it, and I fucked you. So
it's okay.
I porked you, so
you porked me.
I didn't get my hard copy either, so we're even.
No, we're even. We're totally even. But no, I've heard really you told me all great things about it, and that it kind of does. See, because folks, I go back and forth.
Yeah, this guy wants no pedals, but wants pedals all the time.
I'm sort of halfway in, halfway out. But it's like with fuzzes, it's like it's the Eddie Hazel with Funkadelic or Michael Tolles with Isaac Hayes. It's that fizzy
mids.
It's that fizzy mids gated thing that like I personally like just love. And it's like I don't need it, and I can certainly do without it.
But to have it is nice.
But it's I go back and forth. I mean, I always need and want a wah-wah pedal, but at the moment I'm just using a wah-wah pedal. But
I know Dan's going to be there.
You've spoke very highly of the Dan.
Yeah, I know he's going to be there, and he's interested in speaking with you.
Well, can't wait to meet you, man. And
so,
with guys like him and Philip and everybody else, I mean, it's like it's a groovy thing. I got to tell you, man. Like I sit and watch your channel all the time, man. I do. I sit and smoke cigars and watch your. I have done that.
No pressure.
No, man, it's all good. I love the content and I love the geeking out. And it's
all right,
fun.
so give me a video topic.
You already did the shorter one on Jimmy Vaughn. I think you can expand upon it.
I can't play that style.
And
though.
I think it doesn't matter because you can feed content and dig up some more stories that maybe I haven't heard of or something like that. I think
I know what you're doing here.
I think you need to.
I'm no T-ball player, bro.
No. I think what needs to. No. Because and put it this way, like I think that between your love of Ronnie Earl and our shared love of Jimmy Vaughn, and then also he's like the godfather to my new daughter, Anson Thunderbird. Anson and I are real close. I could go on and on about Brother Anson if you're out there. I told him about you too, so he might be watching. So, to kind of extrapolate a bit about that, because I think that, obviously you have a really amazing grasp and love of Stevie and that vein, and sort of what, like in the current day, what Doyle Bramhall does with it. But then you've got that other vein, which, really, with the exception of those three guys, Jimmy Vaughn, Anson, and Ronnie Earl, you got Kid Ramos, you got Junior Watson, and then you got some younger guys like Kid Anderson out in California, who I love a lot, Dylan Bishop in Austin, Mike Keller in Austin as well, Johnny Moeller, who's in the Thunderbirds now. There's that whole other contingent of the old school kind of guys that,
Yeah,
I think you could go off into that territory.
I just worry because I don't.
It's good for you.
My question to you is, like, with their styles, Jimmy, Anson, Ronnie. I feel it was their simplicity that made them sound incredible.
It does, yeah.
But they had so much restraint. And
but that's the hardest thing. The hardest thing is to learn restraint.
Yeah.
The hardest thing is to learn restraint. And believe me, like, I think any player, would probably relate that.
Like, and the biggest,
I mean, that's what I'm trying to impart, because there's two sides of me. There's the one side of me that's like, fuck it, we're going to Mars, jump on the rocket ship. Yeah. And then there's the other side of me that it's like, when I'm playing blues, it's like, it's just fucking shut the fuck up and slow the fuck down and freaking, what are you trying to say, and that's way harder, man. When I heard the first Thunderbird record, it was just like, this is the sexiest thing I've ever heard in my life. Exactly. Wait on time, baby.
That's what you're hearing.
Yeah. And it's just...
Any lead up to the fort? No, right on it.
It's just the best. So, for what it's worth, it's just that I think that I know how much you love it, and we talk about this stuff all the time just amongst the two of us as friends. And I say go for it.
All right, man. So I'm going to put JD's info down below. The opening band is starting. But I want to just thank you, JD, so much for, over the last year, becoming a really good friend.
Thank you, Nick.
And, guys, check out JD on tour if you can. If he's coming to your town, he'll blow your lips right off your face. Peace.